G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today guys, I want to do a video on the 24 inch by 24 inch target. I get asked about it a fair bit, but I think most people have got the idea of what we do in the fashion of our ELR shooting. We use, as you would know, I've written it thousands of times, we use a 24 inch by 24 inch target. And I suppose to start off with, why do I use that 24 inch target? Why? What is it about 24 inches? And I suppose a lot of people think, okay, it's broad man shoulders, or it's something like that in the way of trying to attach it to a military side of things. Truthfully, no, that's not the reason at all. The reason is it's about the right size to be able to carry and hang and do all those sort of bits and pieces in a simple put up and pull down target. In early days of ELR shooting, over 10 years ago, when we started to go into stretching out past 1,000 meters and go and start fishing out there in the long way and see how far we could take things, a lot of the areas we'd shoot, we get permission to be able to do and shoot on property and that sort of stuff in various places we found around this area in the country town. But there was quite regularly where we couldn't drive into the place without doing a whole heap of extra driving. We would go in and we would carefully climb across fences or go through gates where we weren't going to drive into the property, but we'd make sure we weren't damaging anything and doing anything wrong by the property owner. Be then we would walk. We would carry our tubes, as you've seen, of our target frame, screw together thing, which we'd actually be able to carry in one hand and carry the target, which I designed with a handle on it, got it laser cut out, carry the other hand. That sort of hangs from your body without complicated being able to carry the thing. And we would walk sometimes 1,000 meters, generally less than that, generally 200 to 500 meters out to set up our target. And we'd try and do that in one pass, which mean we'd have cameras and the GoPros and GoPro stands and the target and the flag and all the bits and pieces to go out to there, set it all up, get our GPS reading that we used to do back then and still do now. Take it all out, then go back to the vehicle, then drive back to our shooting place. So that's how we would do that sort of stuff. So that 24 inches was very much a convenient size to start with. And I suppose I've been through also the type of steel. We don't make it out of heavy steel for ELR shooting. I've been through that. I'll go through it briefly. We use thin, or not thin, but 3mm or 1/8 thick mild steel. That is because once the bullet has slowed down to subsonic speeds, so it's gone back down to 1,000 feet per second, most projectiles at that stage don't have the energy to push right through steel. They'll bend the steel instead, and that does a great job of popping off a lot of paint. White paint, which we use because we set them up where the sun's behind us so we can actually see long distance. It makes it a lot easier to see and that sort of stuff. And when enough paint pops off, you get a circle sort of this big pops off of paint, it becomes very easy to see. When you've got hard steel, doesn't bend, paint doesn't tend to pop off. It'll just sort of, you'll get your grey splash of where the lead exploded on the face of the target, but it becomes a lot lighter piece or lighter image. And once you get out there in the over a mile in the 2 mile sort of stuff, that becomes very difficult to see. So with this softer mild steel, 3mm, it bends, it pops off. It's a lot easier to see. Not always easy, but easier to see. So you put those two things together, and then that's what we're up to where we started from. The next bit is that's our target system. We don't ever leave targets up. We've got a couple of targets that are permanent targets in closer range, but otherwise when we're using people's properties, we get permission. We are very grateful for that permission we get to be able to use things. We make sure it fits in where people aren't doing other things on the property, all that sort of stuff. There's all sorts of housekeeping and goodwill involved with doing this sort of thing, so we look after that very thoroughly. But apart from some copper bullets or some jacketed bullets that are left embedded in the dirt, we don't leave anything there. We set up our target in the morning. We set up the target early in the morning. We do our shoot early in the morning, and then we pack up and we're out of there. So basically, there's nothing but footprints, and like I said, some projectiles that you'll never find dug into the dirt. nothing else is left there where we've been. So that means that changing a target to a larger target in any sort of format like that would make it a lot more difficult. This all fits in the back of our vehicle, it pulls out. Now we do get to largely drive to the target area to set it up, but we're still talking about something we've got to manage in and out of the vehicle and all that side of things. So it's convenient to use the 24-inch, but I suppose the big reason I don't put a bigger target on as when we go out further distances is, well, I suppose there's multiple ways to put it. One is nothing gets bigger when it gets further away. So yes, I get with competitions, they go to 1 MOA or 1.5 MOA and then they just enlarge that as it gets further out there. Competitions are trying to make sure that it's a hard enough but easy enough thing to do to get people to score and all the rest of it. So they end up with 4 foot wide and 6 foot wide targets and things like that when they go out further and further and further on this competition idea of things. It's a bit the same with the world records. It gets bigger and bigger because it's an acceptable competition side of things. We've got nothing to do with competition. It's not about competition. If it's a lot further away, it's a lot harder to hit, and it's a 24-inch target. That's the same target that I started at the 1,000 yards. We use now smaller ones at 1,000 yards, down in the 12 inches or even 6 inches out at a mile with some of the stuff we do. But the 24 inch is our sort of standard. Really, I nowadays use that from a mile and out, and then it doesn't matter how far you're trying to go. It's about, we'd take it out to, as far as we've gone, is a bit over 5,000 yards. And out there, yes, we near missed the target. We certainly got very close a lot of the times. One of the shoots we had, we near missed it by I've forgotten exactly. It was half a dozen rounds. I think it was 8 rounds that would have missed it by no more than 6 or 8 inches. We still didn't hit it. So, and yes, if we'd had a larger target, we'd hit it. But here's the thing. I don't put that much value in a hit. I do enjoy being able to provide that as a hit. It's certainly, my little spotter gets excited when we do hit it. But truthfully, every day when I sit back, every time when I sit back and analyze the shoot and analyze how everything went as to what it was, the group is what matters. So without a word of a lie, I would say if I out of a 10 shot group, or 10 shots is, I suppose, if you haven't hit something, and we'll end up spending at least 10 shots trying, and every one of those is within 2 to 6 inches of a 24 inch plate at, let's say, 3,000 yards, but I don't hit, I still feel that's doing very well. And there's conditions that can change that. This isn't like shooting at 100 yards with no wind where it's just the rifle. There's conditions can change that. There's all sorts of things can change it, but I still feel that really went really well. When I do that same shoot and we hit, we might even hit twice, but the general group is like a meter from target. Then, okay, we hit it, everyone's happy with that. Me, not so much. Me, that group is what it's about, shot to shot. You know, of course, if I've got really erratic conditions and I'm really chasing those conditions and get up to it and then hits and the next one's off again because it's all over the place, well, you know, it is all relevant to what's actually happening. But largely that group, largely those near misses are what have value to me. And that would get into also why we haven't shot any further, or why we haven't even gone back to our 5,000 yard shot. That is because our main job is, the way we do it, is as a 2-man team. Man and his wife team, where there is a real glass. It's a real spotter, shooter team. We shoot with what we can. We shoot with what we can see. Our vision is our problem. And correcting that with electronic devices, with target cameras and that sort of stuff, that's not ever something that has any attraction to us, because it is about the teamwork thing, which is probably the most valuable thing to us. That group, how the rifle performs, I get that's what most shooters are interested in. To be truthful, what does it for me, what does it for us, is what we get done as a team. That means that there's just as much effort and pressure on the spotter to be able to see this stuff and be able to call this stuff as there is on the trigger man to be able to make it happen, and the rifle to make it happen, and the ammunition and all the rest of it. We're always doing a video on this side of things as well, so we have to present that properly. If I just present a shot on projectiles hitting a target and people shooting here and nothing in between and no proper long range stuff, I get it's what a lot of people do. For me, yeah, I could set up a target at 25 miles away and show you the shoot here and hit there. That's just a bit of Hollywood magic. For us, I have to show the whole thing, and the teamwork is the main thing that's of most value to me. So I hope that makes sense, a bit of the 24-inch target. Okay, bit of a party pooper. I don't need to hit the target to make it be a good day. Although it always is that little bit better if I can get that really close group and get on target in extreme conditions, then yeah, listen, okay, it's a nice little finish off, but it isn't in the engineering or the actual assessment of how good that thing happened, what it was actually shooting like, what it actually did, all that sort of stuff. That group is what's most valued to me. And the 24-inch target, like I said, the simple picture is things don't get bigger as they get further away. They just get a lot harder. Anyway, I suppose, and I should, so I'm not trying to diminish the competitions and what they do with how they do it and all that sort of stuff. There's all sorts of things that I'd say it's just very different. Competition needs things at particular sizes, particular standards and things to make it work, so it can work, has to work on the day, all that sort of stuff. What I do is trying to be a little bit more real, which makes it a little bit more random. It's as simple as that, which means, like I said, long way and small target, you're probably not going to get a hit. But it's all about the challenge is what I'm looking at. Anyway, guys, that's it. I hope that didn't step on any toes, but that does make sense of what we're up to. Thank you very much for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.